The attack on Ukraine has made Russia emerge as a villain state in the eyes of the world. Especially the USA. In retaliation to that, Meta CEO Mark Zuckerberg has taken the sudden step of blocking Putin citizens from entering the Metaverse. After all, Mr. Zuck doesn't want any war criminals to populate the Metaverse. Now that is a sudden, grave step. Don't you think so? Anyway, are you aware that Russia, to defend its grounds and save its dignity in the world at large, is claiming that it has banned Facebook from its territory?
If Facebook doesn't earn money from selling data, doesn't Facebook earn money from advertising based on that data?
Now, truth be told, it is just one party lurching out at another, and things can get pretty messed up in the coming days. Stay tuned to know more about the fascinating details of this steamy event. Why did Meta block Russia from entering its metaverse? So yes, a notable event has come up, and we are sure it is worth giving attention to. Watching Russia getting banned from availing the services of popular US-based companies is nothing new in the current scenario. Even companies like Apple and Domino's have restrained from offering their products and services to the war-fanatic Russia.
Fight by war in Ukraine.
Now, Mark Zuckerberg has come up with his own game tactic. And, as it can be expected, it has blocked Russia from accessing its services, and yes, that includes restricting access to this country to entering the Metaverse. Is Zuckerberg apprehensive of an onslaught of Russian warfare and armed powers in his dream project of Metaverse? Come on, everything can be made possible in the Metaverse. Meta is Zuckerberg's most ambitious and favorite project. And isn't it obvious for him to not allow the Russian encroachers from invading his favorite AR/VR world? Now, Mark really doesn't want any kind of violence to take place in his world of Metaverse. And that can be an apt reason enough to not allow the Third World War initiator's country from entering the ultra-modern space. What Russia has to say in this regard? Interestingly enough, Russia's viewpoint is that it has banned Facebook. Wondering what reason it cited? Well, the Roskomnadzor media watchdog is of the view that Meta was discriminating against Russian state-aided and state-run media agencies by imposing stifling regulations on Facebook accounts of such agencies such as the Russia Today, Zvezda, etc. After this event, the Facebook president of Global Affairs, Nick Clegg, had remarked, "Soon, millions of ordinary Russians will find themselves cut off from reliable information, deprived of their everyday ways of connecting with family and friends, and silenced from speaking out." Things may seem ambiguous to you at this point, because, well, Russia is also hell-bent on issuing penalties and fines to Facebook. With the recent events of Russia's attack on Ukraine, tech giants such as Meta are now being forced to take part in geopolitical events. So the imposition of restrictions on Russia also makes sense in this regard. Now, Meta, in the last week, had already banned state-backed media houses in Russia scattered all over the European Union, and it was literally demoting content from state-supported media. If we go by what the media regulator of Russia has to say,
certainly on paper, Russia has a very large military.
Since October 2020, 26 cases of discrimination against Russian media and information resources by Facebook have been recorded. Putin's state is of the view that the restriction has been imposed on Facebook to prevent violations of the key principles of the free flow of information. Wondering what Meta's response had been to this? Well, Meta's reply was, "We will continue to do everything we can to restore our services so they remain available to people to safely and securely express themselves and organize for action." Russia's restrictive bans on Meta were not liked much by the US. In fact, the White House was also extremely concerned and worried by Russia's sudden decision to restrict the maneuver of the US-based company Meta. Jen Psaki, the spokesperson of White House, had said, "This is a part of their effort to cut off a range of information from the public." The spokesperson was also extremely worried about the threat to freedom of speech in the country. Not only Meta, but several other tech and social media giants are all burdened with the pressure to come up with a certain response to this conflict in Ukraine.
Bitcoin is really on the global stage right now.
As we mentioned before, Apple had already stopped the sale of its cool gadgets and other items in Russia. Oh, did we say that it has even restricted the expansion of the services of Apple Pay and Apple Maps? Anyway, the physical retail stores in Russia have stopped functioning altogether. So it is not surprising to see Meta putting a full stop to its offerings of services in the warmonger Putin's nation. What you can't definitely miss out on is the fact that Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube have already been branded Kremlin-supported media for the users located outside of the EU. Facebook had not come up with a positive response when Russia had asked the social media giant to geo-block or hide certain posts and uploads. Russia asking its users to not go for Facebook could be because of this reason too. Not only Meta, but Twitter too has revealed that some of its services have been restricted for some Russian users. The government of Ukraine had urged Meta and various other related platforms to stop offering their services in Russia. Ukraine has even lauded Meta for its move towards the abrupt stoppage of services in Putin's territory. While Moscow blocks Facebook on one hand, Meta retaliates by pausing all ads in Russia on the other hand. The Russian legislature has passed a new law to curb the spread of fake news related to the military and armed forces of the country. Anyone committing this offense will be subjected to the punishment of staying in prison for about 15 years. Just after this law was announced, the BBC decided of dismissing and suspend all sorts of journalistic operations within the nation. On the other hand, it is not only Zuckerberg's Facebook that has paused ads in Russia, but other similar companies such as Google, Snapchat, and Twitter have all followed the path of Meta and has put a stop to showing ads in Russia.
Yes, Congresswoman, we run ads. That's the business model is running ads.
Isn't it overwhelming to point out that Meta had about 7.5 million Russian users having their accounts on Facebook? If considered the total number of Russian users across other Meta services such as WhatsApp, Instagram, Messenger, etc., the count comes to 122.2 million. Meta even faced disciplinary measures in Russia after it did not succeed in opening local offices and adopting other relevant measures as required by the recently passed communications law. McFall, an American diplomat, had shared his view. Obviously, Putin is shutting these people down because he is afraid. He wouldn't be shutting them down if everything was peachy keen. This is an indicator of his state of mind. Well, whatever the issue may be, it is now clear that Russia can't enter the Metaverse. Maybe the country will develop its own Metaverse just like other countries such as North Korea and China are doing, and thereby cease depending upon Zuckerberg's Meta. Did you find this video engaging? If yes, do let us know in the comments section what you felt about the video. Also, press the like button and tap the subscribe button to keep getting notifications whenever we post a new video here. See you super soon in our next video.